You think they're a punk band?
I don't know what they are.
I sent to the group chat, unfortunately for Poundcake, not a single photo of Panic at the Disco. Of course, his longtime favorite punk band. This is the Bad Brains, band in D.C. One of the many, 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 many bands that were profiled there. One of the high points of our Vegas trip, because we don't care about shows. We're not going to Cirque du Soleil. We don't care, right? It's a lot of pool and drinking and having dinner and going to weird places and blah, blah, blah.
No Hoover Dam.
No Hoover Dam.
Oh, poor Hoover Dam. He just wanted some love.
Well, it's funny when we get out to the airport there and they have all of those photos. You know, we're going up to the escalator or whatever. And I go, ooh, hey, look, there's the Hoover Dam. My wife, you know, as a child, she'd been out that way many times, but this was only the second time I'd ever gone to Las Vegas. We went out for my 50th, and then we went this time. And each time we've gone with a buddy of mine and his wife who live in L.A., but they come to Vegas all the time, and they both make a lot of money. They don't have kids. Our birthdays are a couple of weeks apart, and so we grew up together. And he goes, hey, I think we might be slowing down the Vegas trips. They spend a lot of money, so they get comped a lot. He goes, I think we might be slowing down the Vegas trip, so you guys should come out. This was a few months ago, because we don't know when we're going to be back again. He's like, everything is going to get comped because he spent so much money. And I said, okay. So we had a room. We had, I paid for the flights. But at the end of the week, I said, hey, when we get home, they drive to Vegas. It's 3 or 4 hours to L.A. And we flew back, obviously. And I said, hey, when we all get home, just let me know, how far over the comps you went. And I'll Venmo you, right? And so he hits me up and he goes, yeah, we're good. Don't worry about it. So
he actually hit me up and he said, you owe me $700.
Bill's still trying to get people to Venmo him money. He's still trying to get people
I paid it on Alan's
to
behalf.
Venmo him money.
No, I'm trying to get you guys to Venmo me money.
Well,
or Zelle.
If randos were zelling you money, it just doesn't have the same. I'm too used to Venmo. Don't get me on Zelle.
I like the Zelle. It's just bank account to bank account.
Yeah, no
It doesn't have as
middleman.
much.
Whatever.
Would you gamble?
I'll take whatever.
Well, that's the thing.
Tell me all about it.
We're not
Come on,
huge.
I'm itching.
Well, this is where I'm going to disappoint you because didn't really gamble that much either. I mean, for us, the days are mostly like drinking, pool, quick nap, out to dinner. You finally get used to the time change. Because if you're going to dinner 7:30, that's 10:30 back here, and then you come back, and then that usually doesn't affect me that much. But this time it hit me a little bit. But we want to do things like go to the pinball museum, go to the punk rock museum, go do,
You didn't gamble at all?
No, we did. But not
Tell me
anything
what
that
you
would
played.
not anything that would make Mary Santora get a lady boner.
Ugh. You sat there with your $20 in a penny machine.
No.
spending 30 cents at a time.
Nope, played some blackjack.
Okay.
Was up quite a bit, but then just gambled it down.
Amen. So we didn't do it.
And then, because one of the days a buddy of mine who I used to do radio with in Pittsburgh, he retired a few years ago, and he and his wife moved out to Vegas. So I said, hey, man, I'm going to be in Vegas. Let's go have lunch. And I hadn't seen him in a long time. And so we went and had lunch, and we were just kind of talking about, life or whatever. And that was downtown, though, like Fremont Street where Poundcake was, where you did the zip line, right?
Mm-hmm.
And that's a whole other vibe than the Strip.
It really is.
It's a lot of like panhandlers, and it's a lot, the Strip, they really try to kind of clean that out because they're trying to get people to whatever.
I paid for these Magic Mike dancers, I guess, to take pictures with my mom, and they picked her up.
There's a lot of half-naked people on Fremont
One grabbed
Street.
one leg, the other one grabbed the other, and they held her up. I was like, hey, watch it now. This is my mom. But she had a great time.
You put her in the middle of it.
Literally. Yeah,
so we met up there and had lunch. But other than that, I mean, we weren't gambling much, right? Played some blackjack. I guess I could have cashed out, but I wasn't feeling like it.
Yeah.
And then,
play.
And then like the last night after dinner, we just went down, walked around. I mean, it was like dinners were so goddamn long. Our friend Nicole Schreiber.
Yeah, did you go see her?
I text her. I go, hey, are you at the Rio? Purely coincidental. I was looking around to see who was in town, and she was in town.
She's playing the Comedy Cellar out there.
Yeah, in the Rio, which is like a couple of hotels that we were staying in a place called the Nomad. and it's like a couple of hotels north on the Strip and on the other side. And I go, I'm going to try to get to the late show. It was just 2 shows a night. The dinners are so goddamn long that I miss a late show. Both nights I try to get out there.
Because you have dinner at 9 o'clock.
Well, it wasn't that late, but I mean, even if you have dinner at like 7:30, you're there till 10. So...
Because you got nowhere to be. So you have a
well,
drink,
and they're not
and
exactly
then you
like
order an appetizer, and you
yeah,
kind of hang out.
and these places are still, even for Vegas, they're still understaffed.
Yeah.
So it's not like Johnny on the spot all the time. It's fine, but whatever. So the last night we were there, we just played some slots in the hotel
What
downstairs. What did I play? I played some, I don't know, Chinese drum thing or something.
Dancing drums.
Dancing drums.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. She friggin' knows, man.
They
She
go up
really
in
does.
88-cent increments if you're playing the penny slot.
If you play the pennies, yeah. I think I was playing 2 times that.
Yeah.
But she knew it.
Oh, no, dude, I know it. You get 3 drums on the first 3 wheels. That's how you get a bonus game.
Yeah. And my buddy...
They have a little, it's a little Chinese symbol that when it lands, it adds coins to the pot.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
Well,
yeah, that's
we
dancing
were...
drums.
My buddy's at one machine, and he goes, come over here, pick the 3 coins, because there's the mini, the maxi, and then the
Yep.
grand there. He goes, pick the 3 coins, and if you get the grand, I'll split it with you. I go, okay. Of course, I flame out, and he gets the mini, whatever. Who knows?
Yeah.
But he spends a ton of money. That's how he gets everything comped. So he's just feeding casino daddy, right?
Yeah.
But I spent probably $40 on the slots.
Okay.
And Gwen was playing. She was like way up at one point. She was up like $200 or something. Nice. But we just play it down, you know? And so it was fine. We don't do a lot of gambling out there.
Yeah.
And we're not going to see Cirque du Soleil, any crap like that. It's just like, but I'll tell you what.
It's a vacation. You're relaxing.
It is a vacation, but day one, I forgot how quickly you get hammered when it's that hot.
Yeah,
and you're
hanging out at the
drinking.
pool. Yeah.
Well, it was 113 in the daytime.
Ooh.
Dude.
That's literally, he went around the same time I did because
It's July in Vegas. I mean, we were there for the 4th.
We were at the same time where you're going to the pool and you have to wear flip-flops because your feet will be on fire.
And you got to turn your flip-flops upside down. I see a lot of people just parking them near the pool, and they get in, and not as hot as hard tile, but they're still super hot, rubber, whatever. We had a cabana every day. I mean, everything was, you know, so it was the cheapest vacation we've ever had because we literally just ended up having to pay for the flights.
That's awesome.
Everything else was, you know. So, but the day one, my pool drink, when I'm at the pool, I'm drinking Charo Negros. And so they give them to you in the giant pool thing, right? With the big long straw.
Sippy.
Right, the big long, right, the pool
ridiculous.
sippy cup. Well, no, everybody's got the same thing, so I don't care what it looks like. But that's what I'm drinking. I'm ordering those, and I'm like 2 deep. And all of a sudden, I'm like, oh my God, what's going on? It really kind of snuck up on me. And Gwen's like, I can tell, because she goes, you go booze mute. She goes, when you get hammered, you stop talking. And we had cabanas every day and all that, so I would just kind of pad back to the cabana and just kind of sit there and stare.
For a little while.
Yeah, stare and then get back to the. And she goes, each one of those things probably had like 6 shots of tequila. It's
How many did you have?
I had 2.
Oh, okay.
2 big ones.
But still.
It's a lot.
But it's
And
a
you're
lot.
dehydrated.
You
'cause it's
forget,
113.
and you're more.
The
Yeah.
sun, too.
And he was peeing in the water.
So no, I wasn't.
Yes,
and
you
so
were.
I told you I get out.
You're
and so,
sweating so much, you're probably not even going to.
Well, that's the thing is you're not sweating. That's the problem. You know, when people go, well, it's dry, and everybody kind of laughs about it. But here's the thing. 100, because I did a bit of walking one day too. 112 in direct sun in Vegas. The day we came back this weekend, I mowed the lawn because we've been gone for a week. 84 and humid was exponentially worse than 112 in Vegas. It
miserable.
was awful.
Yeah.
And everybody says that, and I know that. But I was like, Jesus Christ, I'm out here. I'm like falling over like I'm 90.
Yeah, Florida heat is way worse than
Oof.
California heat.
Well, that's like a swamp. I mean, it's just, Florida's a whole other animal.
I'm really surprised you're not darker.
You say that anytime a white person comes back from vacation.
But he was in
You said that
direct
to
sun-
me, too. When I
He
came back
wears
from Hawaii.
sunscreen.
Yeah.
I wore, I didn't want to get toasted.
We can't not wear sunscreen. We'll be bright red.
Yeah.
I've
We-
still worn sunscreen and not and still been dark. Like
You're
I've
a
been
black person.
But you're already on third base.
Yeah. Cody, we don't tan the same.
I mean, I get pretty dark, and I hang on to it. I get a little bit of sun, I suck it up. But, I wasn't going to, lay in the sun. When I wasn't in the pool, I was in the cabana.
Oh
because it's like, yeah. No, I had SPF whatever.
It's 100.
Yeah.
We went to Columbus. They have a water park down there called Zumbizi Bay. My entire family went. So all 20 of us, siblings, cousins, all that kind of stuff. And when it comes to sunscreen, because all my family they're all pale, so pale. And their babies are even more pale because a lot of my siblings are overweight, so they don't hang out outside, right? So we must have gone through 8 gallons of SPF 50 sunscreen because it's hot and sunny. So you're reapplying it every hour.
It's better than not using it.
That's what I'm saying. And it's like the kids would get just a tiny little bit of redness on their cheeks. But other than that, you couldn't even tell they were in the sun. Because it's like, yeah, we are lathering these children in as much SPF as they can take.
I just put a nice little bit around, like, my eyes, my nose. And
You're on
maybe a
third
little
base,
shoulder
homie.
top.
I mean, you're not, yeah.
I just want to make sure I wasn't peeling.
But I digress. We went to the Punk Rock Museum, which seems to be a contradiction in terms. But Gwen was like, boy, you want to feel old. The Warp Tour is in the Punk Rock Museum, right? I'm mostly focused on like the 70s and the 80s, the stuff from like when I was coming up, when you get to the tail end. And they did a really good job, by the way. If you're going to do a punk rock museum, you cannot half-ass it. So I had posted a bunch of photos on my Instagram or whatever because it was just some great, great stuff. If you're into that, old set lists, just tons of
very
stuff.
cool. I'd be-
very, very cool.
I'd be into that. I took my nephew to the Rock Hall while he's in town. He's staying with my parents for the summer before he goes to college. And I took him to the Rock Hall. And like the first thing you see when you go down the escalator is the awning from CBGB.
Yeah.
And I was just like, do you know this place? And he's like, no. I'm like, do you know who the Ramones are? He's like, no. I'm like, do you know anything about music? And he's like, not.
He's Mormon, right?
Not, no.
Oh,
He's-
no.
But even like, I was more.
But he's like, what, 16, 17 years old?
18 years old.
Yeah, I mean,
that's what it is. He's
yeah.
18 years old, and he didn't have VH1 and MTV to kind of get a more broad
Yeah.
view because we watch things like Behind the Music and stuff like that. So it was like going through, I felt like a music historian because I'm like, I know who these people are that are very famous, and he didn't. I'm like, this is Elvis.
Mick Jagger. Yeah.
Elvis Presley.
Yes.
No, so it's like they've got all these exhibits. They have a tattoo shop right there if you want to get something. They've got a wedding chapel. And they had these guided tours. I didn't take one of those because the day we were there, I guess that day they didn't have anybody doing it. But they have like legit people giving you guided tours, like the girl from L7 or like Rob Flynn from Machine Head who, got a punk background or whatever. And so like all these like punk artists will give guided tours. And I was like, I just kind of want to walk through. But, posted a photo of Gigi Allen's leather jacket. I knew that would make everybody happy. But it's very, very cool. I mean, if you're looking for something to do out there, when we got in the Uber, fortunately, because it's only been open like a few months, like COVID pushed it way back. So they only opened in April. But we got in the Uber. And the dude driving, he's like, I know exactly where that is, bro. I was ready to give him an address and, the whole thing. But he's like,
Doesn't the address already automatically go in when you get in
It does in Uber, yeah, but I don't know. He's like, I know where, whatever.
No. You have
Maybe
to
he
get
was
in and tell
maybe
him.
he was just letting us know that he didn't need the address. He knew exactly where it was, blah, blah, blah. And it's fine. No, I'm sorry. It was a cab. That's why. We took a cab. Half the time we're taking a cab. And so we took a cab because that's what was in front of our hotel, and it was fine. He
Do
goes,
they have enough openers in the museum to keep you interested?
What's that?
Openers?
It had a lot of openers, yes. Yeah. No, it was great. I mean, again, once you get to the top floor, there's like pictures of Fall Out Boy and the Warp Tour. And it's like, but
Next Tuesday.
I'm not looking down my nose at that because that stuff's 20 years old now. And, that's fine. That's what that, a younger generation is. It was weird to see. But the early stuff was what I was looking for, because a lot of it's on loan from like all the Lemmy Motorhead stuff was there and his boots and his hat and his, from the Lemmy estate. And so it was very, very cool. We did tell the cab driver, and I wonder, if there are things that locals know that others don't. We did tell him that it was specifically in the arts district. And he's like, I've never heard of that before.
That's something
and I
you
go,
saw on Google Maps.
well, that's where we were 2 years ago. We went to a couple of spots in the art district, and that's what the people there said it was called. So
That's like when people come to Cleveland and they're staying near like CSU and they're like, yeah, I'm in Midtown. And I was like, no one has ever said that.
is that what it's called?
There's parts of Cleveland that have like historical signs that will say like,
I see.
Like by Cleveland Clinic, it'll say like Uptown or Midtown.
Or one
and,
of
like,
those dumb script signs
so,
everywhere.
like,
Yeah.
nobody is.
You're
calling
in
it
Midtown Cleveland.
Right.
Well, this
yeah.
is the east side over here at 9th. So anyway, I mean, it was very, very cool, that punk rock museum, which again sounds silly, but I was just so pleased that they didn't half-ass it, because I think everybody's going to come for you. Punk rock fans are going to come for you knives out if you do. Now, they did have
You don't do it right, yeah.
They did have a gift shop.
They're gonna have to though.
We
They're
walked
still gonna
around
make
it.
money.
Well, they had a jam room too, and I was so excited.
Did you play?
No, because it was all guitars.
Oh.
Because we go to the bar after, we're sitting down, and the guy's like, go to the jam room. I go, bro, I'm a drummer. He's like, you don't want to just screw around on a guitar that somebody broke on SNL? I go, I'm a drummer. I thought it was going to be like a whole room there. I looked in, it was just a bunch of kids. It's like Wayne's World, where they were like,
Yeah.
no stairway. It was just a bunch of kids playing guitar, which is awesome.
No Blitzkrieg bop.
But they had like super old set lists from like Dave Grohl was drumming for Scream.
That's cool.
Way back in the day, yeah. So they had a lot of like old, it was just very, very cool.
Whenever we go to Guitar Center, they have the drum room, and Brian will be in there for like a half hour.
Oh, yeah.
Like even if we're just there looking, he's like, I'm gonna go play around. for
Of
a little
course.
When's the last time you guys have been to the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame? Because they have like a whole like section where you can play as a full band. They have guitars, they have bass, they have drum rooms.
I've only
They
been
have
like,
all those things. And I haven't been there in a long
I'd
time.
say like once as an
And
adult.
I took my nephew, and it was so fun going through and kind of giving him like a quick little crash course. And then what I decided to do was make a playlist as we went through the museum. Like, okay, this is some of that music, and I just sent that to him so he can kind of absorb some of the stuff. And then next year when he comes and hangs out again, we'll go through it again and see what he's like kind of gotten in, into his bloodstream, what he actually likes. Because it was he's so young.
Yeah.
18 is so young, and even he's like, I like rap. I mean, well, who do you like in rap? And he's like, I don't know. The older guys I like in rap are Kanye. And I'm like, Jay-Z at all? He's like, not really. And I was like, okay, so this will be all new to you then. But it was still very. I haven't been there in so long, and it was just people kind of crap on the Rock Hall, but I liked it.
Well, that's why a lot of people come to Cleveland.
Yeah.
They come specifically to go to the Rock and Roll
I
Hall of
heard
Fame.
lots of people speaking in different
Well,
languages.
but I mean, the locals, anything local, people are going to kind of piss on it
Well,
because you take it for granted. But
that's why I ended up.
I haven't been there in years.
I haven't been there in such a long time, and so I bought a membership where I can bring a guest anytime I go, and I'm just going to go more often.
Yeah,
Especially because there's so many comics in town that want to go, so they can just tag along with me and get in for free. And you want to go, Poundcake? You want to go on a little date?
I have never been for the museum itself. I've gone to see movies there. So I've done premieres. I've done like the high school rock off.
Mm-hmm.
I think
They had the School of Rock kids playing outside too, so that was pretty fun.
Yeah, and I was there for All-Star Weekend as well, but
Yeah.
never actually for the museum. There's and it's right up my alley. Like the Michael Jackson glove. I'm sure they have the Whitney Houston national anthem outfit. Like I'm sure they got that stuff.
I didn't see everything because there's so much stuff. And my nephew's so young, I didn't want to take him to the Michael Jackson stuff.
You don't want that to be what blows his
Ghosts
skirt
to
up
come
down
through.
the
Yeah.
right.
Wait, that's like what
The-
started.
The
Rock
funniest
Hall.
part was there was an LL Cool J hat that said "Ladies Love Cool James," and I thought it was for sale. I was hoping it's for sale because I wanted to buy one for him, but I couldn't find it in the gift shop. But I sent a picture of it to my brother, who's his dad, and he's like, "Why would anybody make that hat?" I'm like, "That's LL Cool J's. That's what LL Cool J stands for." And he goes, "Oh, I never knew that." So this 44-year-old guy's learning things too.
But even if you didn't know that, Ladies Love Cool James is a great hat,
Yeah, for sure.
especially if your name is not James. Hey, Woody.
Alan,
I mean, I've worn out my Ladies Love Cool Woody hat. So
those are those are
those
the item
LL
unto
those
themselves.
LL Cool Dub merch is getting harder and harder to find.
that's a fact.
Yeah.
Hey, you guys just talked about the Rock Hall just for a second. Back in the early '90s, when I moved out here from Iowa, I was probably the mid '90s, late '90s. I dated a girl who worked at a T-shirt print shop that printed the T-shirts for the Rock Hall. So I had probably a dozen Rock and Roll Hall of Fame shirts that were just a little bit off. They were a little bit misprinted or misstitched.
Irregular shirts before they sent them off to games. Yeah.
So I had some really cool Henleys and you name it, all sorts of cool Rock Hall T-shirts way back in the day, and God knows what happened to those throughout the years.
Well, irregular shirts for an irregular guy is what he's trying to say.
Exactly. But you went to the Punk Rock Museum. Oh, I'm sorry, Bill was talking about the CBGB's awning at the Rock Hall. Now, I'm driving home from work, so I can't really look it up. What does CBG stand for? I cannot remember for life.
Country, bluegrass,
blues. Country, bluegrass, and blues.
Blues, and then there's a bunch more because there's a whole bunch of other letters underneath it.
There's a bunch of letters underneath it, too, that supposedly stand for something as well. But, I somewhere down the line, I thought that someone told me that it was actually like a misprinted awning that they just slapped on the building because they could afford
a misprinted awning. No, CB and the OMFUG was underneath. The OMFUG was underneath.
Yeah. But I'd really like to check out that Punk Rock Museum in Las Vegas.
I bet it's still going to be there next time you're out there, Woody.
All right, man. I'm gonna look into it. You guys have a great day.
All right, you too. There's Woody out there in the shores of Willoughby. I got to take a break. I'm going to have Guardians tickets for you. I'm going to get yourself to a Guardian.